Hello there, and you're very welcome to another episode of the Arkham Avengers FFPL podcast. You join me, the host, along with Eamon, Hector, and Captain Fantastical Mick, where we take a look to see how the managers in this league are getting on for the season. However, we'll also be talking about much more. So kick back, stay tuned, and enjoy. Okay, you're very welcome back to this week's episode of the Arkham Avengers FFPL. As always, I'm joined by the three amigos, Eamon, Hector, and Mick. It's good to have you back here again now, lads. And, after the action from Gameweek 17 and 18, we are now turning our attention to Gameweek 19. Lads, how are you all keeping?
I'm doing very well, thanks for asking. It's been a good week. I was over visiting relatives over in Galway and Moydow. Out and about, meeting people, catching up with them there. And there was a little bit of rain and stuff like that, but you don't matter too much. It's okay. It's snowing out tonight, so it was.
Indeed it was, yeah, a little bit of snow. Look, sure, it's that time of the year. You expect anything now. And look, sure, it's always nice to catch up with the family, isn't it, Mick? It's good. It does the heart and the soul good, doesn't it?
It certainly does, yeah. It's nice to catch up with people that you might have met for a while, See how things, see how they're getting on. Yeah, I always enjoy it, so do.
And Hector, what about yourself? All be good with me. Hello, listeners. I had no news with me. Another week go by. I'm looking forward to see how our managers go on in game week 19. And, it's so far a very good one. I like to start the year. It's a good start. It's not too bad so far. Yeah, not too bad so far. And look, we'll be taking a look at the league table shortly. And Eamon, finally to yourself there. Is everything all well with yourself?
Well, yes, it is good. It was a good week, a bit like the lads, they had a good week. I had a good week. Nothing too taxing, nothing too stressful. Just preparing myself for this week's show. Generally just pottering about, I'd say, would be the term I would use, pottering about.
Excellent stuff, lads, excellent stuff. And, Eamon, are you tackling this week, can I ask?
Well, I was going to do some tackling, but I think as we're only starting into the new year, I might hold off for another week or two before launching into any particular topic. And let the goodwill season bed in before I start tackling anybody. That's what I'm thinking about here.
Right. Well, look, when you start tackling, we'll start listening. And Mick, you wanted to say something, am I right?
I did, yes. I wanted to just to say that I got me pilgrim certificate. You remember the Camino walk that I done?
Oh yes. Okay. Oh yeah, you lost that certificate. Yes, whatever passport certificate, whatever you're going to call it.
There's a nice lady called Marie over in Portugal, and she found it and she sent it in here because she emailed in. She says, what's the address? I'll post it over, and it arrived this week. And look, I have to say, it was very nice of her to get in touch, with us on the show here. And I just wanted just to say a big thank you to Marie and all her family. Hopefully, maybe we just might get a chance to meet up on the if I get a chance to do the Camino walk this year, and I'm hoping to do it. It'd be great, say thank you in person for that there.
Okay, well, look, yeah, well, we're glad you finally got your certificate, and long may you hold on to it now and not lose it there. Sure, look, if nobody else has anything else really here to start talking about, will we take a look at Game Week 19 to see how things have gone? Yes, I think so. I think it's time to get down to business.
Okay, Hector, take it easy there, take it easy.
Hector, you're in a little bit of a rush today, aren't you?
No dilly-dally here with me now, and, Mick, let us get on with it. Eamon, let us get on.
I think what you're trying to say there is dilly-dally, Hector, not your dilly-dallying or whatever.
Eamon, now you're dilly-dallying, let's get on it.
How am I dilly-dallying here?
You're asking questions here on our listeners. They want to find out about Game Week 19. Okay, we move on. Okay, all right. Okay, I think Hector has spoken there, and now maybe we better get on what matters. Okay, so listeners, in Game Week 19, the highest points were 132, and the average points were 49. First place, no change. The good, the bad, and the goalie. 59 points. Hector, since you're itching to get off the marks, what happened with this manager? What happened to the team? Well, they had no transfers for a start, and the team lineup was in goals. Arrizabalaga was there with the 3 points. Trippier had 8 points. Walker had 1 point. White had 7 points. De Bruyne came in with 3 points. Rashford had 8 points. Martinelli had 3 points. Andres had the 5 points. Darwin Núñez had 1 point. Kane had 16 points. And their captain this week was De Haaland for 4 points. When I look at this team here, I see several players who are not hitting form. The Man City players, I think, are giving poor return these days. Question mark about them. Are they feeling pressure? Are they getting tired? I think a couple of factors at play here. I also think for Liverpool, Darwin, he's not doing the business. He's not settling in yet at the moment here. Their manager is holding first place, but they really need to kickstart the season here. They're a little bit just going through the motion. They're like hamster on wheel, just going around doing the same thing week in, week out. They need to inject a little turbo boost or something like that into it. All right, okay. So the hamster needs a turbo boost. That's right, yes. Okay. And how would you get the turbo boost going? Well, I think you have to have a look at some of the players here, like the Walker. The 1 point from him, not really good enough. Darwin, 1 point, not really good enough. Maybe the manager, he'll have to have a think about what type of captain they want going forward. Very well, okay. So second place is no change either. Taye gets 65 points. They had 3 transfers and lost 4 points. Mick.
Well, they brought in Cucurella. He got 3 points. And James went out. He didn't have any points. Mitrovic came in for 5 points. And Wilson was put out for 1 point. And Andres came in for 5 points. And Isaiah went out for 2 points. Their team lineup is the goalkeeper was Arrizabalaga was in there again with 3 points. Cucurella, 3 points. Shaw got 15 points. White had 7 points. Trippier had 8 points. De Bruyne had the 3 points. Rashford, 8 points. Andreas, 5 points. Darwin Núñez had 1 point. Haaland had 2 points. And their captain was Mitrovic for 10 points. Look, the transfers worked. And a decent captain choice. He didn't go at Haaland anyhow. Trippier came off the bench. They got the 8 points there. And this manager is keeping the pressure. They might have lost 4 points with the transfers, but they're keeping the pressure on first place. That's what we like to see. Fair play. Keep it going, lads.
Okay, and in third place, there no change either. Lafayette Lions, 76 points, 1 transfer. Eamon, what happened? How did things go?
Well, things went very well for Lafayette Lions. As you said, they had the 1 transfer. Shaw came in 15 points, and Shello went out for 1 point. Their team lineup was in goals, Pope, 10 points. Shaw, as I said, got 15 points. Castagna got 1 point. Trippier was there with 8 points. Hochberg in midfield had 3 points. Martinelli had 3 points. De Bruyne had 3 points. And up front, Kane had 16 points. Haaland had 2 points. Mitrovic had 5 points. And this week, they decided to go with the midfield, Andres, as their captain and got 10 points there. Look, the transfer was dead on. Super results there. 15 points to 1. You can't argue with that there. And look, decent choice there with the midfield. The transfer was a decent choice. It was an excellent choice, really. The midfield look a little bit disappointment. There's 3 players there and 3 points. You'd be expecting to get a little bit better out of that from them there. But overall, Lafayette is going to be looking upon this week and saying it's a good week.
Now, up to 4th is Camboy High Cancelo, 64 points, Hector. What's going on here with this manager now? Well, this manager have been down for a long time, but now they are starting to rise. They're going to the top. They had no transfers, but their team lineup was in goals. Arrizabalaga had the 3 point. Shaw had 15 point. Trippier had 8 point. White had the 7 points. Andreas had 5 points. Martinelli had 3 points. Salah had 2 points. Rashford had 8 points. Haaland had 2 points. Darwin Núñez was there with the 1 point, and they had Mitrovic as their captain for 10 points. This manager, they are building on last week's good result. The defense is very solid. It's very good. I am very impressed with it. Lafayette Lions are doing very well also. There's 2 of these here. They're doing very well. And I think they're going to put a lot of pressure on first and second place. They're doing good. They're going in the right direction. They're gaining the points in. And that's what's going to be counting here. And like, as you say, this is only game week 19. Just imagine in another 5-8 game weeks, we could be seeing either Camboy High Cancelo could be taking top spot or Lafayette Lions Okay, interesting. We might come back to that now shortly. That's an interesting point, Hector. And also on the rise up to 5th is best season ever with 72 points. Mick, a good week for this manager, I'd say.
But 2 transfers for a start. Excuse me. The Gayen, the goalkeeper, got 7 points, and Ramsdale went out for 6 points. Nikita, I think that's what they call him, is it? Or is it? It's not Nikita anyway, sorry.
No, you're thinking of Elton John's Nikita. It's definitely not. It's Niketia, as far as I understand.
Yeah, I think it is not. It's not the Nikita. No, it's not Nico either.
Nico. Oh, yeah, that was a movie, wasn't it, called Nico? Any?
Can we move back to the football, please?
All right, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so this Niketia, anyway, he came in for 1 point. Wilson went out for 1 point. Their team line-out had the following. In goals, of course, the Gay, he got 7 points. Saliba got 7 points. Trippier came in with 8 points. Perisic got 10 points. Odegaard came in with 2 points. Almiron, 2 points. Foden had the 1 point. Niketia had 1 point. Haaland had 2 points. Kane had 16 points. And their captain this week was Rashford. He got 16 points. Well, I think the transfer for Nketiah and Wilson is a bit of a no-show. Like, cancelled themselves out 1 point each. Didn't really do nothing there. But Foden is not an option for me. He's not. Yeah, he has good weeks, but it doesn't have enough good weeks if you ask me. The defence is impressive. Very impressed with the defensive players and the goalkeeper. And kind of like what Hector was saying about that turbo boost and the hamsters. This manager has got a turbo boost. They're flying up that table. They're really quick. I'm impressed with them. They're doing really well.
Okay. Can I just put out here for our listeners, just in case anybody is actually thinking that there's a hamster going around with a turbo boost attached to it, I can assure you there isn't. I don't know what and how this started. I know, Hector, you're on about a hamster in a wheel and turbo boost on them. And now, Mick, you're bringing the hamster in. So I think we'll just drop the hamster now and leave it there, okay?
That's fine with me. I was only just using it as a term of words. I've never seen it. I haven't got a hamster. Have you got a hamster, Hector?
No, I have no hamster. No. I used to have a gerbil once, but no hamster. No. Right, we'll move on.
Thank God for that. That is going to turn into some sort of a pet show here. And I do agree with you. I mean, there's better ways to describe something besides having hamsters. Turbo boost, like something out of Crash Bandicoot or something like that.
All right, okay, we're moving on. We're going back to the football. Never mind hamsters, PlayStation games, turbo boost, all the rest of it there. Down to 6th, Raglan Road, 32 points. Eamon.
Yes, they had 1 transfer. Thiago Silva came in for 3 points. Cancelo went out for 1 point. Their team lineup in goals, they had Guetta, who didn't get any points, unfortunately. Thiago Silva, as we said, got 3 points. Trippier had 8 points. Tarkowski had no points either. Gabriel picked up 6 points. Billing had 1 point. Zaha had 2 points. Almiron had 2 points. Havertz had 4 points. Haaland had 2 points. And they opted for Salah as the captain, who got 4 points. It's not a good result for Raglan. They look like a manager who's in a bit of trouble. They're in a sticky wicket here at the moment. I think it's their 6th week that they're on the drop. It's definitely 5 weeks. The midfield is a bit of a shambles, and they look like a manager who's lost their way a bit. Now, there's time for them to kind of turn things around. They have been doing well, but I think since the last couple of games, the run-ups when the World Cup was starting, and since, they just haven't got on form. They're a bit like the Liverpool this season. They're just not clicking. Just not getting it. They're like the Chelsea's. They're averaging, but they're not even averaging there. They only got 32 points. I think this manager needs to go for a walk, get some fresh air, clear the cobwebs away, and maybe spice up this team a little bit with something. Certainly that midfield. There's this billing business. Zaha, yeah, he gets a goal here and there, but I mean, is he reliable? I don't know about that there. Certainly they need to do something. They have to address this because the wheels are off at the moment here. At least they're on 3 wheels, and they're off. Another wheel is going to go off, and their season's going to be in tatters. So it is.
Maybe they need a turbo boost, do they?
Mick.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help it.
Yes, well, we don't need any smart remarks from you, Mick. Okay.
Now, no change in 7th place is Arkham Avengers with 56 points. No transfers here. Hector, what is our manager at? Well, their team lineup is in goals. They have Gueha, no point. Trippier got 8 points. Amarte had a 2 point. White had the 7 points. Almiron had 2 points. Salah had the 2 points. Andreas had 5 points. Odegaard had 2 points. Rashford had the 8 points. Kane had 16 points. And their captain this week was Haaland. He got the 4 points. They're starting to close the gap on the Raglan. And when Eamon said this guy wasn't finished, that their season was over, well, sorry, Eamon, they must have another life. Because they're in 7th. They're not losing ground. They're gaining ground on 6th place. He is doing something right. No reply to that, Eamon?
No, I'm not replying to that. If Hector thinks he's got another, like, I don't know what Hector's trying to say here. Is it, he's like James Bond or something, he has another life here to live. No, this is the spoofer. And I still maintain the season's finished for him. He's gone, and that's it. There's a couple of managers gone here, but definitely this guy is gone.
Very well. Up to 8th place is Cleach Bait with 64 points. Mick, this manager manages to bounce back every time we think they're finished.
That's right. They didn't have any transfers either, and their team lineup in goals was Ward, got 2 points. Cancelo had 1 point. Zivchenko had 5 points. Trippier came in with 8 points. Neco Williams, though, had 1 point. Did Harrison for 4 points. Salah got 2 points. Rodrigo picked up 6 points. St. Maximin had 1 point. Almiron 2 points. And their vice captain was Kane. He got 32 points this week. Now, they still left Jay-Z as captain here. And look, we all have to agree they struck lucky because they got Kane as the vice captain there. And he's picked up half the points. He got 64 altogether and Kane's got 32. A little bit of luck, I think, in there. But yeah, he's just saying, you think he's down and then he bounces back up.
I think Eamon wants to say something here. Is this right?
Yeah, I just would like to say this. And Mick pointed out that Kane, who was the vice captain, picked up half of the points that this manager picked up for the week. And the subs bench is a wreck. Manager got lucky. Let's face it. There was no skill in this. This was luck. Pure and simple luck. And I think if this manager was still listening to us, and I don't think they are, because if they were, they would probably be doing something here. But I think they should be thinking very hard about their position here. They're reliant on the one player to try and save them here. It's just ridiculous. You have other managers who are trying to do something, and you have this sort of cutology here. This is skylarking at its best. The shyster way of, I'll put a team together and I'm not going to manage it. That's not fantasy football. That's fantasy land football for somebody who's, look, I'll put a team in there. But this guy is running out of luck. In my view, they won't last. They're going down. Trust me, they are going down.
Okay, all right. Now, down to 9th was Blightsome Squad, 47 points. Eamon, what happened here?
They had one transfer. They brought Tete in for 7 points and Robertson went out for 1 point. The team lineup looks as the following. It was in goals was Sanchez for 3 points. Tete got the 7 points. Trippier had 8 points. White had 7 points. Mikalenko didn't get any points. Odegaard came in with 2 points. Salah had 2 points. Almiron had 2 points. Havertz came in with 4 points. Haaland had 2 points. And their captain this week was Andres. He got 10 points. Now, disappointing result, even with, that's a decent transfer. 47 points. You have the Skylarker in front of you getting 64, doing nothing. Whereas manager who's doing something gets 47. It can get you. You just say, why bother? But what I would say to this manager is here, don't let this knock you back. Don't let this deflate you. You have managed to get yourself up and stick with it. There's a lot of game weeks to go here, so stick with it, manager. That's what I say.
Also down then to 10th place is What a Beauty, 99, 41 points, Hector. Don't think there's much action here with this, is there? Well, there's no transfers, that's for sure. And but look, the team lineup is in goals. Pope, who got the 10 points. Totti got the 1 point. Trippier had 8 points. Saliba had 7 points. Cancelo had 1 point. Martinez had 1 point. De Bruyne had 3 points. Martinelli had 3 points. McAllister came in with 1 point. Solanke had the 2 points. And their captain this week was Haaland, who picked up 4 points there. Not much of a surprise here, this. I'm not surprised to see him drop that one anyway. I think I heard Eamon saying before, I think he mentioned something about when you see people like this there, I think they are floundering. They're like driftwood. This is this manager. They're just drifting along, not getting involved. There's no hands-on here with this. No change in 11th place with Maximin for 33 points. Mick, doesn't look like it might have been a good week for this manager.
Apparently it wasn't. There no transfers either. And the team lineup had in goals. Ramsdale got 6 points. Van Dijk didn't get any points. Botman got 6. Cancelo got 1 point. Kofel got 2 points. Saka came in with 3 points. Bruno Gomes came in with 2 points. St. Maximin had 1 point. De Bruyne had 3 points. Mitrovic had 5 points. And Haaland was the captain and had 4 points. I don't think there's much you could say about this result here. Maybe give this manager a kick or something like that. This is as good as it gets with him. Pretty poor, I have to say. I wouldn't be impressed if I were this manager.
Very well, and no change in 12th place either. Real, no stars with 35 points. Eamon.
Well, we're in the part of the league table here where nothing much is happening. In fact, I find this very hard to sit through this, talk about this. Real No Stars did get 35 points. They had no transfers. Their goalkeeper was Ederson, got 8 points. Carello got 3 points. Walker Peters got 2 points. Alexander-Arnold managed 5 points. Salah had 2 points. De Bruyne had 3 points. Aronson had 2 points. Doucouré had 2 points. Martinelli had 3 points. Greenwood had 1, and they had Haaland as the captain for 4 points. The only plus here for this manager is they got 2 more points to maximum effort. But I wouldn't be getting excited about this as such. It's another manager who's a bit like that other chap, drifting away, out in the ocean, far, far away. They're not even looking to get rescued.
No change either then in 13th place. Silver Stroke, 56 points though, Hector. Yeah, that's right. They had no transfer either, but our team lineup was in goals. Ederson, 8 points. Bueno had 2 points. Byrne had 6 points. Cancelo had 1 point. Marsh had 11 points. Saka come in with the 3 points. Salah had the 2 points. Mount had the 4 points. Greenwood had the 1 point. Haaland had the 2 points. And they're still sticking with the captain Trippier. They got 16 points for that there. But, they had subs on the bench who came off. So that was a good move. I still think, though, they could be doing a little better. Like, they still need to get a little transfer in here. Maybe think about Cancelo. Maybe move him out a little bit. The Greenwood, maybe move him out a little bit. They're 7 weeks on the rise, though. I mean, okay, you're saying they should maybe ship out a couple of players here, but they are rising. And at this stage, they're not too far away from Real No Stars. So 12th place is within their grasp. Yeah, they're right, but I still think, they could tweak that team a little bit. And like 56 points, they'll go ahead. They had, Cancelo out and Greenwood out and put in another player at that. They maybe get, the 60, 65 points. Yeah, they mightn't get that though. I mean, they could have another punter. Like they could have had Tarasowski. They are getting no points, or, Mikalenko for no points. At least they're getting 1 point with Greenwood and Cancelo. Well, that is right, but I still think they should push, try and get the 2-3 points at the very least for this. Very well, and then finally in 14th place, no change here now, is Better Idea 22-23. Mick, they got 36 points.
And they didn't have any transfers. Surprise, surprise, surprise. The team lineup here was Fabianski was in goals and got 2 points. Saliba got 7 points. Matip picked up 1 point. Diaz got no points. De Bruyne picked up 3 points. Hojbjerg got 3 points. Ward-Prowse picked up 2 points. Andreas got 5 points. Ings got 8 points. Moore got 1 point. And their captain Salah got 4 points. I don't even know if this manager's on the planet. I mean, could things get any worse? Huh? This is what I want to know. Maybe it's a case of tuning into the same pod channel, same pod time. Don't hold your breath.
What?
I was just saying, I don't think it's going to get anyway.
I'm a little bit confused. What's all of this about tuning in, same pod channel, pod time?
I don't know what he's on about.
Well, lads, have you never watched Batman? We used to say, tune in, same bat channel, same bat time, see what was going to happen, especially if, Batman was in a sticky situation or Robin was in trouble. This manager is in trouble here.
And can I ask, are you expecting some sort of a escape or something for this manager when you're on about this tuning in business?
I was only just using a couple of words here.
I tell you something now, lads. Between the hamster and this tuning in business, I don't know what you were eating before the show, but could you refrain from it in future because you're coming across scatterbrained.
I'm perfectly fine, I have to say. There's no scatterbraining with me here, but this is Hector and Mick.
Well, I say something and I get shut down. You ask me for my opinion, I get shut down. Yeah, I ask you for your opinion and your comments and views. I don't ask you to start turbo boosting hamsters. Now, that's the end of it. We'll just stop the whole lot of that there. But anyways, thank you for all of your views, opinions, and your comments there and telling us about what the team have been getting up to. It was mentioned earlier on there, we were talking about Lafayette Lions and Cambrai High Conchal and how they were putting the pressure on first and second place there. I suppose if we'll take a look at the top three managers there, like Tayega in game week 19, Tayega is only 9 points behind the good, the bad, and the goalie. And Lafayette is only 14 points. There's not much in it there, lads, is there? And in fairness, Lafayette is only 5 points behind Tayega. Yeah, and this is, where Lafayette is making those little gains. It's the few points that you're knocking off every week that starts to reduce that gap there. Lafayette don't need to be getting, a big 90 points in here. Some dramatic amount of points, and whoa, suddenly they're on fire. What they're doing is they have consolidated this season where they were in fourth for so long, and now are starting to move into third, and they're consolidating that. Cambrai High Concello is putting a little bit of heat on, but I don't think Lafayette Lions is going to be too worried about that. They have been steady, been consistent, and they're driven. They have a target. We saw this last year from them, and we're seeing that this year again from them. And they're being professional about their managing and about their team here. And like Cambrai High Concello is 32 points behind the good, the bad, and the goalie. You think all those game weeks back when Cambrai High Concello was out of the top 5, they were way behind, and the good, the bad, and the goalie was flying ahead. It just goes to show you how those two teams, Lafayette, Cambrai High Concello, just got on with the business of managing and getting the points in and getting the players in. These other guys are starting to slip, and that can happen at times. Once you're into the first and second spot, you suddenly realize I'm top. The two of them are Tayega and the good, the bad, and the goalie are vying with each other, and suddenly they're blinkered, and coming on one side of them is Lafayette, and the other side is Cambrai High Concello. That's that's what happened. You suddenly take your eye off who's around you, and you find yourself then under pressure. And best season ever then is 25 points behind Cambrai High Concello. Of course, Raglan is only 1 point behind best season ever, and they're 26 points behind Cambrai High Concello. Now, I know you said the wheels are coming off their season, but I mean, 1 point behind best season ever and 26 points behind Cambrai High Concello. To me, that wouldn't say that their season is over. It depends on perspective, and I think maybe Hector and Mick might agree with me on this, is that Raglan were doing so well, and Raglan was ahead of both of those teams, and now they're behind the curveball here. There was a time when they would have been 26 points or more ahead of Cambrai High Concello. Things have certainly switched here. They swapped around. What would you say? Would you agree with this, lads? Well, I would think that for a start, that I think best season ever had bad start to a season. But they have started to get the traction. And once they get the traction, I think, that, you start to bring in a player and that player gets you the points. Maybe you have to do another transfer and you bring in another guy and they're doing good. Suddenly you get on a roll. You find yourself selecting players who are going to be doing good. It's the same with the Cambrai High Concello. That's what they were doing. They had to swap out players. I mean, what do we say? They had Cambrai High Concello had 64 transfers coming back into the season after the World Cup. Then that's serious thought and consideration being given to their team. Raglan didn't do that. Raglan are doing little bit of change here, little bit of change there, and those little bit of changes are not paying off. But that's kind of a little bit what I was saying here when you said Silverstroke should be doing transfers. If they start doing transfers, are they in danger of upsetting the apple cart? That they suddenly, instead of getting the points that they're getting now, they're going backwards.
Well, that can happen, but I do agree with Hector here. I think Silverstroke need to make a transfer of that. All these other managers who starting to move, and you can be moving down as well as up. But those managers in top 10 managers, they're active. They're making those transfers, and that's what they have to do there. And that's pretty much the batch there. You've got the good, the bad, the goalie, Tayega, Lafayette Lions, Cambrai High Concello, best season ever in Raglan. So you're kind of 2-3s there at that. That's the top 6 there. Arkham Avengers stands 21 points ahead of Cleachbait, and they're 28 points ahead of Blightsome Squad. Well, they might be 21 points ahead of Cleachbait, but they have nothing to worry about there because Cleachbait is finished. Now, Blightsome probably is the team that's going to try and do something and close that gap a little bit there. And the spoofer, of course, is, I've said this many times, is prone to go on a good run and then make a change
2 chains. The changes don't work out. And suddenly they're in free fall.
They're on a good run though at the moment.
A good run to me would be if Arkham Avengers, aka the spoofer, got themselves into 5th place within the next 2 game weeks. Then I would be impressed with that.
Okay, so that's those 3 there. And you have What a Beauty, kind of 99, we'd say. Like they're on 1,006 points at the moment in game week 19. So kind of safe on their own. They're in their own little bubble. They're not affected by anybody. Because I mean, maximum effort is at 957 points. They're only 45 points ahead of Ray and Low Stars. Now this leaves Silver Strokes 47 points in front of Better Idea 22-23. It'd be safe to say that like out of those 3 there, Silver Stroke are moving in a direction, and I think you were saying earlier on, lads, that 12th place is really there for the taking for Silver Stroke.
It certainly is, yeah. And I think they're going to do it. They joined late, and it's taken them a little while, but they've got there. They've managed to get themselves moving on the table, and I think that's where I think the little transfer. I'm sorry to harp on about that, but I think the little transfer would work.
Okay, all right. Well, look, that's just a general look. We will be looking at more, in the next couple of weeks, more detail to see how many weeks teams are on the rise, teams are on the drop there. But it's an interesting aspect, the little divisions in the table and who is putting pressure on who. Game week 20, of course, listeners, is currently underway and won't be finishing up until Thursday, the 19th of January. And then game week 21 kicks off on Saturday, the 21st. So we will be looking at game week 20 on our next show there. That's the football side of things now. Now, Hector, you gave me a note a couple of moments ago there, and you have something on the case of the Mystery Recitation Man in Moydow. Is this right? Yes, that is very right. I have something for our man, our Mystery Recitation Man.
This sounds very interesting. Have you cracked the case, Hector?
No, I no crack case yet, but I think this, last week we have, these guys send in this clip. He take, maybe he takes swipe at me, but I don't think he was taking a swipe at you. I think he was admiring the fact that you're investigating him and trying to find out who he is.
So you haven't cracked the case?
No, I didn't crack the case. No. Okay, so what have you got for us? You ready for this? I am. I'm not sure about everybody else here. You've got a piece of paper there. What's this about? This is for the Mystery Man, so this. Mystery Reception Man, if you're listening, I have this for you. You send in your words into the show, and now I'm going to send my words out to you. Mr. Mystery Man, I aim to find you. You visit, you recite, this is what you do. I know nothing of those sticks, never mind those tricks. You taunt me with your words, trying to bind me in a fix. But I know you're in Monaghan, your photo in Northern Standard. All I need is patience. Your name, I shall find it. Your words may be famous, your face unknown. I shall track you down to your very home. So Mr. Mystery Man, anonymous you may be, Hector's on the case, and he'll unmask thee.
Well, I certainly didn't expect that. Hector, did you put that together?
I did, yeah. It took me a few days, but I get there. Okay. Mick?
Well, I'm kind of just wondering at the moment now what the Mystery Recitation Man's going to make about this. So what's he going to say about this when he hears Hector coming back with all of this, Adam?
And Hector, I just want to know, did you get any help writing this?
No, Eamon, I write it myself. I think on that note, it's time to wrap up. I don't know what to say about that. Fair play to you, and that's all great.
But Hector, can I ask the question here? Have you ever put any stuff like this together before?
No, Eamon, yeah, first time for me, so it is. I never do nothing like this before.
I think the Recitation Man's probably going to be, he's going to be sitting down with pen to paper when he hears about this, I think.
Well, if he sends us an email or contacts the show, Hector, you'll be the first to hear about it. Before we wrap up here, Hector, do you have any hellos this week? I do, yes. I have the hellos. Yeah, I have the hellos, yes. Okay, sure. Go ahead with them there. Listeners, you're very welcome to Hector's hellos. Big shout out firstly to the Aidan and Owen. They are in Scott's house up in Monaghan. I believe that there was a birthday there last week. I just want to say happy birthday to Aiden. Hope he had a lovely day and big happy birthday to him and hope he enjoyed the cake. Hello also to our listeners in Longford, Dublin, our listeners in Galway, Sligo, Derry, Belfast. We have our listeners in Cork, Mayo, Roscommon, Wexford, Kerry, New York. Our listeners in Baltimore and Maryland. Hello to you. Very nice to have you listening to us. Our listeners in California, Texas, Canada. Our listeners in Bavaria. Thanks for coming back another week. We always love to hear from you. Our listeners in London, Italy. Hey, nice to see you. Maybe, who knows, it could be the Holy Father who's listening to us. Or would you just get on with this? Yeah, okay. Our listeners in Poland, Greece, South Africa. We have our listeners in Australia, New Mexico. Our listeners also in Brazil. Hi, Mom. Hope you're doing well there. Our listeners in Chile, Argentina, and we also have listeners in Iceland. And that is the end of Hector's hellos. Hector say goodbye for now. Ciao. Thanks for that, Hector. I always look forward to hearing these. Okay, lads, time to wrap it up. Eamon, thanks very much for joining us this week.
Yes, well, I was going to say it was a pleasure to be here, but I'm not sure if that's the right words. It's gone a little bit funny this episode, but I have to say it's always nice to hear about the football anyway. That's one thing, and the interesting comments that would come out when you hear Hector and Mick talking there.
Thank you. Hector, as always, it's a pleasure that you decided to join us here. Well, thank you. It's always nice to be here and, to be with friends, to sit and to talk to the listeners and have the listeners listening. And, I hope our listeners are all well. And Mick.
Well, as I just said, earlier on the show, thanks to Marie for that passport.
Mick, we're wrapping up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Look, always nice to be on the show. Thanks very much. And hope everybody has a nice couple of days ahead, okay?
Okay, listeners. Well, that's it now for another week. I hope you enjoyed the show. Certainly a little bit different at times there. Now, as always, if you do want to get in contact with us, we're on Facebook. We are on Twitter as well. The handles are in the show notes there. You can also get in touch with us by email by sending an email in to us at Arkham Avengers, FFPL@gmail.com. The email address is also in the show notes there. And as always, it's a pleasure to have you as our listeners. And thank you for subscribing to us. And as always, please do tell your friends, family, colleagues about us there and ask them to subscribe also. And all that remains for me to say is thank you for joining us. And I hope that you have a nice few days and a nice weekend and that you'll be back to join us next week. And until then, have a good morning, a good afternoon, good evening, a good night. Take care of yourselves wherever you are in the world. Mind yourselves, stay safe. Slán.